In this video, I will be talking about deposit management. So let's start here. Deposit code. This is simply a deposit code. This is a code you create. Give it a good descriptor. So when you reference them during the deposit rules, you're able to see what it actually means, as you don't want to be writing 100% discount in the deposit rules, and I'll show you how it can get a little cluttered. So deposit 100 basically means 100% deposit. 50% deposit means DEP 50, and a DEP first means first night deposit. Deposit groups. Now you have accommodation, item, and activity. So you can go down the list. You can add different deposit groups based on how you do business. So you may have different deposit groups. Maybe you set them up for sales and catering, different deposit for accommodation rooms, different deposit groups for accommodation conference bookings. You can do that here. We've left it very generic here, as you can see, and this is for demonstration purposes. Now let's look at deposit rules. We'll get right into it. All right, let's look at 100% deposit, and let's look and see what that means. What that's basically telling us is 100% deposit at the time of booking. So that is our end goal. We want to take 100% of whatever the cost is of the accommodation. For example, let's look at line number 1. We want to take, and this is where the deposit code comes in to play, as deposit code organizes it and makes it look very clean, and it also gives you a deposit code at the time of posting on the folio lines. So, all right, so let's see. You have the deposit group, accommodation. So we've chosen accommodation. We are going to collect 999 days before arrival. The reason we have 999 days, as many people don't book 1,000 days before arrival. That is why we have set to 999 days. Usually 365 days is the standard for inventory to be available to property and channels. So that's why we have 999, just in case you take 2 or 3 years in advance bookings. So the next thing is a percentage. You can set a percentage, you can set a fixed fee. In this deposit, we want to take 100% at the time of booking of the total sales amount, or you can take the total sales amount excluding tax. Number days formula, it calculates all days, or you can do the first day. Fixed days, since we're looking to take 100% deposit, we want all days. Fixed days does not come into play, so we've left that at 0. And valid from and valid to basically means if you want this deposit rule to be valid on certain dates. So this could be possibly special events, could be New Year's, could be maybe you have a event such as Super Bowl, and you want 100% deposit only at the time of the event. You could set that here. And basically what this from amount to amount is telling you that the 100% deposit will be collected from the amount of $0 to the amount of 99999. So what's that? $99 billion. Is that right? Correct. $99 billion. The deposit rule, also 100% deposit for an activity. Same as before, 998 days before. What that will basically do is take 100% 100% deposit at the time of booking. Percentage, this basically flows down to item as well. And that is how we collect 100% deposit on an activity, accommodation, and items. You could associate this deposit rule to multiple properties if you have multiple properties in Senium, and that is where you do that here. Let's look at something a little bit more complicated. 50% deposit is very similar to 100% deposit, except for the fact that it's only taking 50% deposit at the time of booking. Let's look at a wedding deposit rule. Wedding deposit rule, we've possibly created this for a client for testing purposes. So basically what this client wants to do is take 50% deposit at the time of booking and then take 100% of the deposit 20 days before arrival. All right? So what that is telling me is I'm taking a 50% deposit utilizing the deposit code DEP50 on the accommodation 999 days before, so at the time of booking, taking the rate value of 50, all right, percent of the total amount for all days, all right, for all dates and any amount. Same for the item, all right, and then 20 days prior to arrival, I am going to take 100% of the remaining total sales amount, valid all days and all amounts. Same thing for item. All right. So what this will do, and since you're collecting 50% of the deposit here, and the reason this is 100 is whatever the folio balance is what the 100% will collect on. It will not be 100% of the total sale amount or the booking amount. This is on remaining balances. So that is how you structure a more complicated deposit rule.